What's up, travelers? Welcome to this special super hot ultimate breakdown between the three most glitzy first class products in the world. You all know the deal with Emirates, Qatar, and Etihad by now. They're three huge airlines connecting the world via their hubs in the Middle East. Although Etihad is changing strategies somewhat, nonetheless, all three airlines have among the world's best onboard products, and first class, of course, is no exception. Over the past year and a half, I've been fortunate to fly first class on all three airlines' flagship A380s. If you're looking to redeem miles for a dream flight, you need to know which is best, right? I'll give you the answer in this video, and I'll explain the difference in first class strategy between the three airlines. But before that, I have a few things I want to let you guys know about. This video is sponsored by NordVPN, which is appropriate since the Middle East is one place you will appreciate a good VPN. It took me literally a dozen flight connections before I even realized that the reason my FaceTime and Skype weren't working was because the governments blocked them in the Middle East. Even now I sometimes forget, but having NordVPN saved on my phone helps me every time. Also, have you guys ever been watching a TV show, then you go abroad and suddenly it's not available anymore? That's because different countries have different selections on streaming services, and NordVPN lets you bypass that. This is all in addition to the obvious benefit of a VPN, which is added cybersecurity. To celebrate NordVPN's birthday, if you go to nordvpn.com/nonstop10 or use coupon nonstop10, you'll get a 3-year plan for 70% off, plus a free plan as a gift. The link is at the top of the description. I also have a 20-second message for all Swedish followers. Right now, there is a huge bonus when you sign up for a Swedish American Express. You only have 1 week, so you can check out the details in the description. And if you don't have a card already, now is the time, Sweden. You'll get 25% extra if you use my link only for the coming week, so hurry up. Now, let's get down to business. Let me start by saying that each of these airlines has different strategies. First of all, Qatar Airways' main focus is business class, and they have without a doubt the best business class among the three, especially with Q Suite. Meanwhile, Etihad's first class strategy is somewhere between Qatar and Emirates. They don't have first class on all their aircraft, but they do invest a bit in the experience. But then we have Emirates that has first class on almost all their aircraft, and in my opinion has by far the best first class lounges as a consequence. Those lounges in Dubai are insane. It's also worth mentioning that the ground amenities are terrible on all three airlines. Apart from the lounges, the experience isn't very different from economy class. Compare that to Lufthansa or Air France, where you get driven to your plane in a luxury private car and have people carrying your bags. In the end of this video, I'll do a brief comparison whether I would rather fly the three Middle Eastern carriers or European carriers, considering the difference in ground experience. So the airlines will be scored on 5 different criteria. Number 1 is seat. Number 2 is amenities. Number 3 is onboard experience. Number 4 is service. And finally, number 5 is dining. So let's start with the seat, and I'll be comparing the airlines in the following order. First Emirates, then Etihad, and last Qatar. Starting with the seat, Emirates has 14 first class seats squeezed onto the upper deck of their A380. That's a huge cabin, so you might think the seats are tight? No, they are not. They're incredibly spacious and have an electronic closing door for almost complete privacy. Some people dislike the bling bling and tacky touches in Emirates cabins, but personally, I think it's fun. It makes the experience feel even more ridiculously luxurious. You also have your own snack basket, a drink bar, a vanity kit, and so much more. The Emirates A380 first class seat is amazing. Moving on to Etihad, they have what looks like the most unique and crazy cabin. They have only 10 seats on board, including the residents. You get the novelty of having a separate bed, which is so cool, and you also have what feels like unlimited space and an entire vanity mirror that opens up, as well as a drink compartment like on Emirates. The first class apartment is mind-blowingly good in many ways, but has a few drawbacks in my opinion. Firstly, the bed isn't actually that big and not as comfortable as on Emirates or Qatar. Since the space is so big, it tends to get quite dark when you close your door, so these things come down to personal preference, and it's still one of the best first class seats in the sky. Lastly, Qatar Airways. Oh wow, what a disappointment in comparison. Qatar has standard first class seats, which are comfortable to sit and sleep in, but the biggest drawback, which is crazy considering Q Suite exists, is that there's literally no privacy. Even with the privacy partition up, you feel exposed, making it far less exclusive than Emirates or Etihad. Other than that, there's nothing wrong with the seat, it just isn't that impressive. There are no special drink or vanity compartments, not that it's a big deal, but the other two carriers have it, so it's worth mentioning. Moving on to topic number 2, which is onboard amenities. Here, Emirates makes you feel like it's Christmas. They give you a ridiculous amount of amenities on their A380s, from a huge amenity kit, pajamas, slippers, and even a beach bag to carry it all in. They also have high quality headphones, a writing pad, a pen, and more. In comparison, Etihad has slightly more meager offerings, but they still have a beautiful amenity kit, and they give you pajamas. Qatar Airways comes in last with only a simple amenity kit on daytime flights. There are no slippers or pajamas unless you're flying overnight, and nothing else is provided. It's worth noting that Qatar Airways gives pretty much the same amenities in first and business class, so on overnight flights, business class passengers and first class passengers get pajamas, so there's not much of a distinction there. Number 3, and this is the big one, onboard facilities. Can you believe that this is yet another category where Qatar is far behind the other two? We all know that Emirates has its insane shower spas on board its A380s. Showering at 35,000 feet on Emirates was hands down the best experience I've ever had in the sky. You have a beautiful clean bathroom with heated floors, a bright shower with a seat, and 5 minutes of running water. You won't know how much of a game changer showering on board is until you've tried it. It really is relaxation on another level. Emirates is also famous for its onboard bar, which is definitely the most social place on any aircraft currently flying. They have a huge TV playing sports or news, and several tables and benches where you can chat with fellow passengers, and the bonus is you can make useful contacts. Meanwhile, Etihad comes in quite close. They offer 1 instead of 2 onboard showers. Theirs is equally cool and mind-blowing, but doesn't quite feel as luxurious as on Emirates. The shower is installed in a regular onboard lavatory, so the space is much smaller and getting changed inside can be quite claustrophobic. Nonetheless, having a shower is awesome regardless of its size and look. Then moving on to the bar, Etihad has the worst social space of the 3 airlines, with a round couch under a TV. Sitting there is just kind of awkward, and most passengers seem to prefer staying at their seat, not as useful for socializing and definitely more flashy than practical. Last but not least, poor Qatar. They have stunning lavatories on board, but sadly chose not to install showers inside. It's a shame because they have my favorite lavatory design of the 3 airlines, but without a shower, you're missing out on a major bucket list experience offered by their competitors. But Qatar does have a beautiful onboard bar behind business class where it's nice to spend some time. However, the layout isn't as good for socializing as on Emirates since the bar splits the area down the middle. So category number 4, unfortunately, Emirates has reduced the number of flight attendants in first class. When I flew their A380, I was the only passenger, so service was flawless. Had the cabin been full, I think my experience would have been different. Both times I've been lucky to fly their old 777s in first class, the service was frankly so-so. The crew were so stressed that they didn't have time to interact with passengers and they missed many details. So the lesson is that service on Emirates can be hit or miss. It definitely should never be bad, but it might not always be top notch depending on the passenger load. And now for Etihad. If you've seen my Etihad A380 review, you know I had quite an unusual experience. At the start of the flight, the purser was very friendly though, as was the onboard chef. However, already at boarding, you can see in my video footage that the flight attendants aren't really smiling, and on my other Etihad flights in business class, I've always felt that the service is quite indifferent. So again, it usually isn't bad, and sometimes I imagine it's excellent, but consistency is key, and this is where Qatar Airways takes the crown. Their flight attendants work so incredibly hard and are sadly under a lot of pressure to perform. They go through a grueling training, but it results in pretty much flawless service every time. This is my experience on Qatar in business class, and on my first class flight, granted we were alone, the service was impeccable as well. If you've ever had outright bad service on Qatar, I'd be really curious to hear your story in the comments, but personally, of my 22 flights with Qatar Airways, I've never had a bad service experience, and in fact, I'd say that 20 of those 22 flights had flawless service. Now 5, last but not least, catering, and I'll keep this short and just discuss the things that stick out. Firstly, Emirates and Etihad have caviar service, Qatar Airways does not. All three airlines serve Arabic coffee before takeoff with dates, which is a lovely touch. I love Arabic coffee. You also have a pre-departure beverage of choice on all airlines, but for what it's worth, Emirates has the most expensive champagne. I also had some incredible Arabic mezza on Etihad, and even more so on Emirates, where the presentation and quantity of food was mind-blowing. Here again, Qatar Airways does very little to differentiate first class from business class, which ultimately puts them a level below their competitors. So overall, I think the comparison made my opinion pretty clear. Emirates has the best first class of these three airlines and the most special first class experience in the world in my opinion. Etihad comes in second with an amazing product as well, but not quite as fabulous as Emirates. Coming in last by a long shot is Qatar Airways with a mediocre first class product. That's not to say it's bad, it's still first class, but compared to Emirates or Etihad, it just doesn't shine. I think it's also worth mentioning that for me, I'd rather fly the Emirates A380 in first class than their new 777 first class. I've been lucky to try both, but to me the A380 was just more special and fun, even though their new 777 seat is insanely good as well. So if I was given the choice between Lufthansa and Emirates first class, which would I choose? Ultimately, I choose Emirates because flying with them is just so much fun. But if you're someone who wants the experience to be special through and through, and if you're comparing Lufthansa to Etihad or Qatar, I choose first class on Lufthansa because the ground experience is just so good and so valuable. So I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up because if you do, I can see in your future that you'll be flying first class many a time, and subscribe for many more videos like this. As always, I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Hopefully it will be up very soon. I'm currently in Bali for the next while, just chilling out, but I'm excited to see you in the next video. So until then, fly safe.